everybody. This is Mary Beth from the Fresno City College Career and Employment Center, and we are hosting our first virtual job fair ever. And we are excited to have Thomas Madrano, who is from Annex Restaurant, and I want to say Annex Kitchen, and also he's representing Pardini's Catering. We're lucky to have them. They have great opportunities in the food service. So if you are in food service, this is a perfect place to be to get the experience and be a part of as well. So, Thomas, thank you for being here. And tell us about Annex and Pardini's and what positions are you looking to recruit for, etc.
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you guys for thinking of us and inviting us in this crazy post hullabaloo of the
Yes,
pandemic. These
yes,
things like these are great because it helps us keep moving forward. And I
yes,
think everybody can see a light at the end of the tunnel. And hopefully we're getting ready to turn that corner and keep moving
yes,
forward.
yes.
So this is great. Thanks for putting this on.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, I am the general manager here at the Annex Kitchen, and we are in the process of opening our sister restaurant, a Nesso Pizzeria. So some of the things that we do here that you might be familiar with at the Annex Kitchen, we've been open for 6 years. We are obviously an Italian-inspired restaurant. We make our own pasta fresh every day, make our own pizza dough fresh, obviously, every day as well. And if you've had an opportunity to come visit us, thank you. And you've probably, hopefully, experienced the great food that we do here that we make from scratch. And then with our cocktail bar, we try and stay on par with what's coming out of the kitchen and changing things seasonally, both with seasonal dishes from the kitchen and cocktails as well. And the second and third pieces of the puzzle for us are, the ambiance and the environment of having like a really nice, cool place to dine. And the third piece is the service and the hospitality. And all three of those things for us are key components to having a successful restaurant and having a place that serves the community well. And we think of ourselves as a family restaurant because we are. Obviously we're owned by the Pardini family. It's been in the community since the 60s. And so there's a lot of great connection with the community and being here, providing great food and service and having everybody have a good time. So with all of those things being said, we are carrying all those values over to Nesso. So a little bit about Nesso Pizzeria. Nesso Pizzeria is exactly what it sounds like. It's a pizzeria. It's a little bit more involved though, because we'll still have plenty of those pastas that we do fresh every day. And it's going to be a little bit larger of a restaurant. And the bar will still be that same kind of crafted cocktail bar as well. And it is going to be located over off of, it's called Park Crossing Development. It's where Trader Joe's is.
Is it Fresno?
It's right off of Friant. So it's actually 8484 North Friant Road. And it's off of Friant and Audubon, essentially. So it will be a little bit more involved. We're going to be doing lunch and dinner. We're going to be starting with 6 days a week and eventually moving to 7. So it'll be a full service restaurant, pretty much operating all the time. There's a lot of opportunity there if you're at all interested in, the service industry or the restaurant industry for positions across the board. Right now, we're hiring for all of front of house employees, which includes all your bartenders and servers, bussers, runners, hosts, and then of course all the back of the house positions, which is going to include line cooks, prep cooks, dishwashers, pretty much everything that you can think of as for a restaurant, we're hiring for. Now, as far as like experience levels, across the board, if you have a lot of experience as a bartender, great, fantastic. If you have minimal or to no experience, but you're interested in getting into it, we'll still want to take you on. And the biggest thing for us is that, for all of our employees, again, it's that hospitality and it's that desire to kind of want to take care of people. We've found that people that kind of have naturally gravitate towards that, even if they don't have any experience, stuff, tools like in skills can be taught, but you really, it's really important to us that you have a genuine care for basically all of
Mhm.
mankind, because that's
Yeah.
the key to all of it. Um, so we are, we're looking for employees that have that quality. We're also looking for employees that tend to want to come in and do better than they did the day before, and kind of learn from their mistakes and move
Mhm.
forward. We're really about kind of curating a team that works, well together, and that works as a family, and
Mhm.
kind of looks out for each other. When one person's kind of struggling, then everybody kind of swells up around them and tries to kind of pull them up and get them a part of the program that we're implementing.
Wow.
So
Wow, that sounds great. I love it because you're local and the investment in your employees and uh, in your jobs. It's just more than a job. It sounds like to me. And food makes people happy, and
right.
I think being a part of that process, or the food, the service, and I could tell you when you go to a good restaurant, you remember it by the customer service and by the food. There's a lot of restaurants out there, and you go and come and don't think much of it, but when you go to a great restaurant, you remember it for a year after, 2 years. It's something you want to go again and experience. So employees make that happen. So that's great. So you said for people to qualify, or qualifications, you said they don't have to have the skills, you're going to teach them, um, but if you have bartending, that's great. So anything else you want to add to that for
Yeah, I
skills
mean,
or
obviously
qualifications?
we are looking for all, like I said, all positions,
Yeah.
and the more experience, the better. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. We're not going to start from complete scratch,
Yeah.
but don't be shy if you think that you are at all interested. Apply. You can also apply through our email, which is info@annexkitchenfresno.com.
The address to Annex is, I know it's on Shaw. What is the,
Yeah, so the address here is 2257 West Shaw,
yeah.
and our zip code is 93711.
Okay.
And yeah, and so you can either apply, you can do it through our email. You can actually come in anytime after 2 o'clock, Tuesday through Saturday. That's when we're open for regular business. That's when the hosts first get here, the first receptionists. And you can always drop off a resume or ask to speak to a manager, and we'll chat with you on the spot and schedule like a full blown interview, so we
Right.
can spend more time with you. And yeah, I mean, it's the service industry. It's interesting because I don't think that people realize how much it is a part of our everyday lives in the
Yeah.
food industry until just recently with
Mhm.
this pandemic, because then everything had to kind of close and shut down, and you suddenly realize you can't, how much a part of like your favorite restaurant was of your life, and being
It's
able to,
so true. You're so
you know,
right on that because it's social life. It is social. It could, yeah, you see what the effect has. Going out and with the family is fun, with friends it's fun. It's changed. The pandemic has really changed that, and the value of restaurants and eating together,
you
and
know,
that experience. It's yeah.
and
So
it's a gratifying thing to be part of an
yeah,
industry
yeah.
that connects so many people to so many people's
Hmm.
lives.
That's right.
Um, I've been in this business for, you're going to date myself here, but I've been in this business for over 30 years, and I've seen people go from their first dates to
Yeah.
engaged kids, and then I've seen their kids grow up.
Uh,
And it's been stuff like that's pretty amazing when you get to be kind
yeah.
of a part of that, even on the
Yeah.
peripherals.
That's
But yeah, like I said, you can come by and you can drop off a resume in person if you like. And we're
hmm
actually located right next to, we're attached to Pardini's Catering and
hmm
Banquets,
hmm
which I'll talk a little bit about that now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And, Pardini's Catering, they're also hiring as well. Now with the banquets and catering, it's a little bit different because it tends to be a little bit more part-time, but they are looking for pretty much all of those same positions as far as cooks, bartenders, servers, dishwashers, bussers, pretty much kind of the whole gamut. Uh, it's a little different in that some of their events are off-premise events. So basically, if somebody's getting married in the park or something, or in certain venues, they go and it's kind of it's crazy. They can set up an entire like restaurant of
Yeah.
any kind that you could think of for weddings and birthdays and
Yeah.
anniversaries or whatever the event may be. It's pretty
Are you?
incredible and awesome to see them be
Yeah,
able
I'm
to
going to an
serve,
event this weekend. Pardini's is catering, and they expect 400 people. So
right,
that's not at Pardini's. That's way out in the country. So
right.
it's amazing how they can do that.
Yeah, yeah. They're pretty awesome
Mm-hmm.
staff and company and what they're able to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
And not just kind of pull off, but really kind of, again, those same qualities of like hospitality
Mm-hmm.
and the way they make people feel.
Yeah.
That kind of runs, that's the common thread between Pardini's, I'd say, and the Annex Kitchen. And that dates all the way back to, that dates back to Al Pardini and Al Pardini's
Yeah.
Fine Dining
Yeah.
that started in the 60s, I'd say. So
Yeah.
they're hiring for everything. You don't necessarily have to have, with cooks, they do like to have some experience
Yeah.
and bartenders as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for all the other positions, not a lot of experience necessarily required.
Okay.
And for there, they actually, you can apply in person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be at their main office. And
Okay.
they are located in the same place, in the same complex that we are. They actually share the same address. They're just on the back side of the building, and there's a little black awning that has a P, and the sign says Pardini's Catering.
Okay.
And then usually you can drop off a resume in person or fill out an application anytime between 10 and 4 o'clock. And that's the sales office.
Okay.
And that's Monday through Friday.
Okay. Okay. Monday through Friday. Okay. That's that is good to know. I'm going to ask anybody in the audience, do you have any questions? And you can go into the chat or you can
I think
just verbalize it
Monica
here.
does here.
Yeah. Do the bartending jobs require a license?
No, in the state of California, you do not have to have, I know like some places like Nevada, you have to have a bartending license to bartend. That's not a requirement here. We do ask that you go through, it's called TIPS training, and that's through alcohol beverage control. Again, that's not a requirement as well, but we kind of like to have that. And it's usually not that long of a course, not that difficult to kind of go through. If you've had any experience, then it's pretty quick.
Okay.
Can they get that online or where do they go to get that?
So in the past, you would be able to just call ABC, Alcohol Beverage Control here in Fresno, the local office here, and they would schedule something for you. They used to be in person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm imagining they are not anymore. Because we haven't really had to hire anybody in a while, we haven't really had it hasn't been necessary for us to kind of contact them about that. But usually if you call them, they'll get you kind of situated as far as the time and how you kind of get it all taken care of.
Okay, good. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
And if you don't have that, don't let that deter you from applying. That is something that you can, just like a food handler's card, everybody that works in the state of California in a restaurant, they're required to have a food handler's card.
Do
As
they
long
need
as
that before an interview or can they get that after the interview?
they can get that after. So if we were
Okay.
to hire that person, we give them at least a couple days to kind of get that taken care of. It does eventually have to be there because that's part of a health requirement
Yeah. And that's
stipulations.
fairly easy to get. Do you recommend a service or where they can get that from? Or
That's really easy. You can, if you went online and just typed in California California Food Handlers Card,
yeah.
there's going to be a slew of different websites that offer the class. And again, that takes probably about an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours, depending. You go through the class. It's an online course. They give you a quiz at the end. And if you pass, then they basically email you your certificate right then and there. I think it's right around $20 now at this point.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
But it's not,
I'm glad you mentioned that because some are more expensive. It just depends what company you connect with, and some are
right.
cheaper. So I would be kind of shopping around and
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah, and make sure it's legit too. But there are different prices out there to get the food handlers permits. So yeah, that's good to know. I'm glad you mentioned that. Oh gosh, Now, Pardini's and Annex, you're kind of separate, but you're kind of not. So, can somebody work for Pardini's then come over to Annex later, or does that
Right now,
happen?
typically we haven't really done that too much. There has been instances um, where an Annex employee, particularly like maybe the bartenders, you know, part of what Pardini's does, aside from the banquets and catering,
Hmm.
they also do, all the concessions at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
They do the convention center, a couple different places like that.
Hmm.
So during the fair, sometimes there might be a necessity
Hmm.
for a little bit of extra help. So
Okay.
we've provided some servers or bartenders to go
Hmm.
work. I believe it's called the Jockey Club or the Turf
Oh,
Club
oh, I don't know.
um, at the horse races. So they've done that seasonally,
Hmm.
but typically if you're a Pardini's employee, you tend to be a
Pardini's.
Pardini's employee, and then in the
Okay.
Annex stays with the Annex. Now, as we move
Okay.
forward with this new restaurant,
Hmm.
um, right now we're going to kind of keep that the same because it's a brand new restaurant. So we really want people to kind of
Hmm.
dig in and kind of get it and be get comfortable. But down the line, who's
Hmm.
to say, there might be an opportunity for an annexed employee to cross over to an Nesso. But right now, we're kind of keeping everybody in their own
In
place.
there.
It makes it a little
Okay.
bit easier to kind of remember things.
Yeah. So, when
Mhm.
is your new restaurant open?
So we are in the middle of construction.
Uh-huh.
We are hoping that the building is completed by the end of this month, if not by the first week of June.
Okay.
Once that is done, then we can get in and start training. And it'll be at least 2 weeks of training, a third week of like just team service and kind of a soft opening situation.
Hmm.
So we are shooting for the last week of June or at least the first week of July
Okay.
um, to kind of get the doors open. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good. That's good to know. Um, Gosh, for a person to come to an interview, what do you expect? What is the dress attire you expect from them?
So showing up for an interview, I recommend showing up uh, in a professional manner as far as like maybe business casual.
Yeah.
Um, j- be prepared, even though you've, submitted a resume, maybe bring an extra one just in case.
Hmm. Hmm.
And transparency is key for us. If any questions that we may ask, the, the, we're basically trying to get to know you as a person to
Hmm.
see again if you fit with our team as a family,
Hmm.
and to see if see if you have that kind of hospitality gene in you, and
Hmm.
the way to kind of get to know somebody is just by being 100% truthful. Even if I've worked at a different restaurant before, and me and the manager didn't get along over there.
Hmm.
Don't that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Hmm.
Let that be known, and
Hmm.
then we can kind of get to know you and see, well, maybe it was a
Yeah.
situational thing or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
But that transparency with our questions, obviously being prompt early is always
Hmm.
better.
Yeah.
um Now that's pretty much mostly it, to at least to get started.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Um, Gosh, and so what about growth potential? So you are opening, of course, another restaurant, but
Right.
have people started as, waiter and gone up in management? Is that
Yeah, no, I'm really happy that you asked that question, because that's one thing that, like I said, we've been open for 6 years, and one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on is we promote from within a lot.
okay?
The perfect example is, I'm as my role here at the Annex Kitchen, I'm the general manager. When we go to open the pizzeria, I'm obviously going to be over there getting
Hmm.
everything together, and there's going to be a team of managers with me, and I'll be basically the
Hmm.
general manager over there. The person that we're leaving in charge here, who is going to be the general manager, he actually started as a busser.
Oh, wow.
And he started as a busser for us when we first opened about 6 years ago. And he, always did an amazing job. And he's really,
Right.
wanting to be in this industry. And he went from a busser to a runner, running food.
Hmm.
Then he became a server, and then he
Hmm.
became like a manager on duty, an MOD,
Hmm.
we call him, where he
Hmm.
basically kind of a key holder, closes down the restaurant, and then got to the point where it could allow me to take a little bit of time off. So he
Yeah.
could watch the floor and cover things. And now that we are in this opportunity to
Mhm.
grow, that gave him the opportunity to kind of grow into being the general manager here at the Annex Kitchen. So
Right.
it's an amazing success story. His name is Noah Wetstead. He's a fantastic person. I've known him for quite a long time. Interestingly enough, I've known him since he was 16.
Oh gosh.
And I trained him as a busser when his first job at another restaurant. But
Oh.
obviously people might think, well, that's kind of like an extreme example. But we've had several people that have started out as either a busser or host who ended up serving or bartending. If they showed any interest and they wanted to move up, we're 100% behind it. It really
Yeah.
creates a great base for them starting out in those support roles,
Yeah.
and it sets them up for success
I agree.
when they hit the floor. And it also sets them up for success if they, have an opportunity somewhere else to do what we do here, but maybe may move up even more. It really has, it's been great. It's been great to see everybody kind of,
Yeah.
work hard and get to where they want to be.
You say, working up, and I once I took this job and it was like 100 employees I had to manage, and it was so hard because I didn't have any of that experience walking into that job. And there's such an advantage of working your way up and knowing everything from the very bottom to the very top, because you're responsible for it when you become a general manager. I'm assuming you are
Right.
responsible, and knowing everything gives you so much knowledge and power and to do a great job. And so people say, well, I want to, I don't want to start at the bottom. Well, there's some advantages to do that. And because there's so much to learn and it goes to your benefits. So
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean,
yeah.
again, going back on my experience, somebody told me once, another manager at another restaurant that I love, called Frosca Food and Wine. She told me all my mistakes are the standard now. And that's basically everything that I've done in the past where I've made the wrong choice or made the mistake.
Yeah.
I've been able to use that and
Yeah.
help implement that where we are now,
Yes.
and hopefully get us going on a better foot.
Exactly. It's
So
it's true. And knowledge is everything. So it's so important. And do you recommend somebody having a resume when they go and interview? Does that make a difference for you?
it does. It does. I mean, it's if you've already submitted a resume, say you send something in to our email address, or we actually have an ad posted on Indeed. I almost forgot. You could apply through Indeed as well. Obviously we'll print your resume and we'll have it ready for you. But it's a nice thing when somebody comes in with another copy of their resume,
Okay.
because it kind of shows that they're prepared and
Yeah.
they're
Thinking ahead.
thinking ahead. And to be honest, there's a lot going on, and it might be an instance where we sit down to interview you and we haven't printed your resume, and
Yeah, that's true.
that goes on me, right? But it could happen.
Yeah.
So
But you think ahead. You always take a couple with you because you never
yeah, most
know.
definitely.
And also for those who want help in their or resume interviewing, cover letter, whatever, you can call the Career and Employment Center 442-8294. Make an appointment with me or Cindy, and we can help you with that. But gosh, this has been great. Yes, I think we can end it here. And thank
Okay.
you again so
Yeah,
much.
most definitely. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great, today is Wednesday, so the rest of the week and the weekend.
Sounds great. Thank you for everybody
Okay.
listening. So,
Yeah,
all right.
thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.